I need to think about this. It's also very emotional for the family. And this is probably number one to me. I remember um, with my dad, who I wrote a book about. We were the closest father and son in the world, and he was just the best man and the best father in the world. And I remember even when I was a teenager and in my 20s, I always would say that when dad needs to be taken care of, that's what I'm going to do. And that's just it. And my mom was the greatest mom in the world, um, and just loved her dearly. We lost her too early to cancer. She used to say to me, "Yeah, I know you keep saying that to your dad, but what if he goes first?" And Lindsay, you're going to relate to this. Maybe some of your viewers who have had a Jewish mother. I said, "Mom, I love you with all my heart, and I promise you, I'll put you in the finest facility possible, and we'll visit as often as possible." But I don't know if I could live with my mom. But be that as it may, another story. When dad did need me, I was sorry that he did need me at 81 years old, but I was elated. We both sold our houses. I bought a house with two master bedrooms. Down here, we call that the mother-in-law's bedroom. He moved in with me. He was still ambulatory, sharp in the head, but he had congestive heart failure, and he was probably, time was limited. We loved the same TV shows, everything. He loved going to see my children do their karate and their competitive cheerleading, and everything was just great. But as things got worse, and I always say this, you probably wouldn't like me telling this story, but I am. And the first time, Lindsay, he had an accident at like 3 in the morning, and the house didn't have an intercom system, so I had a baby monitor, which he hated. World War II, man's a man, but he could just say something and I would hear him. And he went, "Get up." That's what he always called me. "Got a problem." It was like 3 in the morning. So I walked in and, "You all right?" And "You having a heart attack?" "No, I'm not having a heart attack, but oh, don't worry about it." Could see how frustrated he was, how embarrassed. I helped him out of bed. I had no problem with this. I helped him clean up. I cleaned his bed, cleaned his sheets. He sat in his chair, just steaming. I could see it, so I didn't say anything. When he got back into it, I said, "What's the matter?" And that is, you've read my book. You know how close we were. He's like, "This is not right." I go, "What do you mean it's not right?" He goes, "This is not what you're supposed to be doing." I said, "Dad, we've been talking about this since I'm a kid. I'm going to take care of you. Everything's going to be fine." And he went, "No, you don't understand. I need you to be my son this next year or 18 months, not my nurse. I don't want you wiping I won't say the word because you'll have to bleep it. I don't want you helping me in the bathroom. Get help. That's not what we do. I want to go watch Stacy do her cheerleading. I want to go watch Josh in his karate tournaments. I want to do everything with you. I want to sit down and watch NYPD Blue on Tuesday nights with you in the living room. I don't want this. This is not the way a man goes out." So I hired people to do this. And we weren't millionaires, Lindsay, far from it, but we did well. We owned a father and son mortgage company. And I thought, I didn't consider myself naive. But one day when I was sitting there with one of the workers, the in-home care workers, and Dad was a highly decorated POW from World War II, and he had the best insurance money could buy and a Medicare, supplemental policy. And in-home care, so he was 6'1", 220. Once he fell down in the shower, it took my son and I all our strength to help him up. The in-home care was costing me about $6,000 a month. And that's after all the insurance. And thank God we could afford it. Even if we couldn't afford it, I would have mortgaged the house. Who cares? But one day I said to one of the in-home care people, who are just angels, I said, "I feel like an idiot here, but what do people do that can't afford to write this check?" I said, "Well, he could go on Medicaid, like Medicaid, and he would go into a home and they would take care of him. Not the way you want." I go, "Oh." He said, "Or, they go into debt or they get second and third jobs, or if they were smart, they bought long-term care insurance 20 years ago." And I literally said he passed away on May 5th, 2005. So this was probably February 2005. And here I am, president of a mortgage company, but not a financial planner yet. I mean, what's long-term care insurance? What an idiot.